Hello friends, hope you all are doing fine. Today we will show you some moments of road and train journey during our Europe tour. Europe is such a joy to explore. With world-class cities, medieval towns, historical sites, the snow-capped Alps, gorgeous beaches, and some of the world's most delicious food, you have the perfect ingredients for your next vacation. Before you can experience authentic Spanish tapas, piazzas in Rome, or rooftop terraces in Prague, an important to-do list stands between you and your European vacation. The logistics involved in planning a trip to Europe may seem tedious or overwhelming, but the more prepared you are, the greater your chances of a successful trip that lives up to your expectations. That's why it's important to do a bang-up job creating an itinerary, arranging transportation, and tackling the brass tacks before you're off to the continent. The following guide explains how to plan a trip to Europe in 10 simple steps so you can spend less time worrying about your travel arrangements and more time staring at pictures of castles and men in kilts. 1. Get your documents in order. If you don't have a passport, it will take at least 4 to 6 weeks from the time of application for you to receive one. Expedited services either through the State Department or an expeditor such as Travel Visa Pro can trim the process down to a week or so, but it will cost you an additional fee, so it's best to take care of this well before your trip. Already have a passport? Check its expiration date. The last thing you need is to find out your passport is expired while you're in line at airport check-in. Keep in mind that some countries require your passport to be valid for 6 months beyond your trip dates. 2. Establish a budget. When planning a trip to Europe, establish a budget as early as possible, even before you know your destination, travel dates, or itinerary. Some destinations are generally cheaper than others, but there are ways to save everywhere. Travel in the off-season, pick budget accommodations, plan a shorter trip. For example, London is an expensive city, but many travel providers and airlines offer affordable vacation packages to the city, and it's not hard to find cheap air deals to London, especially during the winter. Set your budget early on, and you'll avoid any disappointment that could come from forging a fabulous itinerary, like 2 weeks in Switzerland during summer, and then discovering you can't afford it. Travel budget apps such as TraviPocket, iOS, Android can help you keep track of your expenses once you start making bookings. 3. Pick a destination. Now that you know how much you can spend, where do you want to go? If you're like many travelers and you have a humongous list of places in Europe you want to visit, this could be tricky. One strategy is to pick a particular site that's on your must-see travel list and plan your vacation around that. Last year I planned a trip to Ireland centered on an excursion to remote Skellig Michael Island, a UNESCO World Heritage Site I dreamed of visiting. The excursion turned into an unforgettable 2-week Emerald Isle road trip. Another option is to pick someplace timely. Visit countries' tourism websites and search for seasonal events like festivals or local holidays, which you may want to either avoid or join, depending on how you feel about crowds. Don't forget to check the weather before you decide on your destination. 4. Create a rough itinerary. So you want to go to France, eh? Don't go ahead and buy a round-trip flight to Paris and a hotel room, at least, not yet. You'll want to sketch out a day-by-day itinerary of your perfect trip to France before you book a thing. Research sites and cities you really want to explore, and then figure out which ones you have the time and budget to get to. Check out alternative ways to travel in Europe. If you want to see multiple countries or cities but are on a tight budget, you may want to consider a cruise. 5. Book your airfare. Because airfare will probably be the most expensive part of your trip, you'll want to book it before anything else: car rental, hotel, etc. This will allow you to be more flexible with your dates, which is a great way to save money on your flight. 6. Book your accommodations. It's time to go back to that rough itinerary you jotted down and fill in some places to sleep. As is the case with pretty much everything you book for your trip, the earlier you make arrangements, the better, especially during summer high season. Sure, you can just book a room at the local Hilton and be done with it. But do a bit of research and you could discover some funky lodging that's almost as exciting as the attractions you plan to visit. Keep your eyes open for historic castles, tiny bed and breakfasts, houseboats, eco-friendly hotels, or organic farms. Budget travelers take note, vacation rentals, homestays, farm stays, and house swapping are accommodation options that can be shockingly affordable, or even free. As with airfare, you should shop around on multiple hotel sites to make sure you're getting the best deal, and read reviews from past guests to see what the experience is like. TripAdvisor, Smarter Travel's parent company, Booking.com, and Hotels.com are a few good places to start. 7. Consider travel insurance. There are several kinds of travel insurance: trip cancellation insurance, flight cancellation insurance, medical insurance, etc. The best time to buy insurance is right after you put down the major deposits on your trip, whether that entails airfare, a package, or prepaid hotels. Once you know how much money you've paid up front, you can insure your trip, if you so choose. Many airlines and travel providers sell insurance that you can purchase along with your flight or tour package. Always read the fine print in your policy and compare it with other travel insurance policies before you make a purchase. Check your medical insurance coverage to see if you're covered overseas. If not, you may want to purchase supplemental medical insurance to cover situations like the cost of transportation back home for emergency care. Reputable travel insurance companies to consider include Alliance Travel and Seven Corners. 8. Book local transportation and day tours. When in Rome, ride the Metropolitana. Find out how the locals get around the destination to which you're traveling and act accordingly. You won't need a car rental in places like bike-friendly Amsterdam or London with its convenient underground tube, unless you plan to go outside the city. A car rental is your best bet if you're traveling to locales that can be easily reached by rail or plane, such as the Irish countryside. Be mentally prepared to drive in a foreign country, which can be a frightening experience when faced with incomprehensible traffic signs, narrow streets, or sheep roadblocks. To get from city to city or country to country, examine your rail options in comparison to routes and prices offered by European discount airlines like EasyJet or Ryanair. Travelers embarking on extensive travel within Europe may save money by purchasing a rail pass from Rail Europe that permits unlimited train travel within a specified region. 9. Tackle last-minute logistics. A few weeks before your departure date is the right time to start taking care of a number of key logistics: money, phone, house sitter, pet sitter. Call your credit card companies to let them know you'll be traveling abroad. While you're at it, find out if you're going to be charged a fee for using your card overseas. Research the locations of ATMs in your destination, especially if you'll be relying on cash. Does your cell phone plan allow you to make Pack. Packing for Europe requires both different items and a different mindset in comparison to some other types of